Everyone, welcome back to the Tipping Point podcast. I have a very exciting guest with me today, very powerful woman, entrepreneur, TV personality, publicist, and a producer. She's a multi-hyphenate, very talented, and I'm super excited to get into it. So, Louisa Sharamatyan. Louisa, how are you?
Wow, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I've been really looking forward to this. I've been following, the way you move on social media and just in your life. I look at it, I'm like, wow, she's doing this, she's doing that. I get hit with something else. Okay, she does that too. I'm like, how does she find the time? I don't know. So yeah, just a good question to get into. How do you find the time? How do you balance all of this?
That's such a good question because sometimes I don't even know. And so much of this industry, you want to find balance, and ultimately there is no balance. You just have to wake up and write a schedule. That's how I am. When I wake up every morning, I'm a very visual person like you. I have my calendar where I have to say, okay, 9 a.m. it's this, 10 a.m. it's that. But ultimately, it's what needs to be done first and how much of your energy are you going to devote to that project. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I don't have the time. I've learned how to say no the past 3 years, which has been very powerful. I think in this industry, it could be very easy to say yes to things, to not lose opportunity. But when you realize that you need physical and mental rest, that's when you win. And I think the last 3 years, that's been my motive, where if something's not going to serve me or elevate me or make me a better person, I turn it down. And that makes the scheduling and the time more balanced, so to say.
So how do you determine if something's going to serve you, elevate you, making a better person? Because sometimes opportunities are offered and we need to make a quick decision. Sometimes we need to wait a little bit longer. Right. But what's your analysis process of figuring that out?
So in the beginning of your career, whether it's influencer work, actress, or whatever it is, this is just my advice. I say yes to everything and then figure it out in the beginning stages. When you're still branding yourself, when you're still trying to figure out your niche and who you want. And that's hard because sometimes you don't know what you're saying yes to. That's why you have Google and books and people to ask questions to, right? So in the beginning, say yes, figure it out. And ultimately, when you start growing into your niche, then you can say, okay, is this going to help me with my next move? Is the person I'm going to start a relationship with, whether it's a filmmaker or producer, is that going to benefit me in the long run? Or also in a personal level, could this person be my friend? Can I learn from them? And then be authentic. Is this brand going to really make you a better influencer, or are you just posting something to post? Because I feel like we've all done that as entrepreneurs or as influencers, but then it gets to the level where, okay, she's just posting everything. It's better to post things that you use. Personal testimony. Like if someone sends me a protein bar, like this morning, this company sent me a protein bar and I posted it, right? I ate it before I posted it.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
The night before I ate it, it was delicious. So the next day I posted it. I don't want people to assume, okay, she's just going to post everything. So if you're going to use it in your day-to-day life, post it and share it. If you're not, then it's going to show.
Right. And so what I'm hearing a lot of things, but one thing that's really standing out to me is authenticity. And what I could tell you about Louisa is that the second I reached out and I met her and we, talked, behind the scenes and everything, two things for sure. Number one, very hard worker. Number two, very persistent. And actually, no, one other thing. Lastly, very authentic, because she was very receptive. She could have just said, you know what? No, I don't want to talk. She has the right. And I would say I completely get it, because you have the right to say yes or no, right? Anyone does. But no, she gave me her time. She gave me her attention. She gave me her wisdom. And then she gave me her expertise too in her, field. So it was just, I felt the passion and the spirit right when I said hello and we started talking. So
thank you so much, because it means a lot for someone to say all those things.
You could feel it, yeah.
It's the energy. I'm very about energy and mindset. And being authentic takes a long time. It takes a long time to arrive here. the place that I am here mentally did not happen overnight. It took well over 6 years. I think sometimes you have to go to a very dark place and then work on yourself and then finally shed everything and then see the light. That's just how it is.
100%.
So much of authenticity comes from being confident, being secure, and just knowing that you are a human here, having a human experience and living.
Yeah. That really reminds me of just, branding and media and the way that, at least in the Western world, the way America likes treating people that are in the public eye. What I've noticed, especially people that are very, very famous, they love to build you up, destroy you, and then they like a comeback story after that.
Yeah.
I've seen that repeatedly with just people that I admire that are in the public eye and people that I take, influence on. One person I always mention, like Dana White, he was getting so much hate for starting the UFC. So many people were against him. Senator John McCain, he was against him. There were people saying this is this is a corrupt sport. It's not right. But regardless, he heard the outside noise. He took it. And now he built one of the biggest, and maybe in the future, it will be the biggest sports in the world. Wow. So, yeah.
And it's worth billions, right?
He's worth billions. The company's worth billions. It's just insane what he's built.
So there's this saying, it says, if you build it, it will come.
Right.
Build it, be consistent, focus on the niche. There is something for everyone, especially now with the internet. You'll see sometimes you'll get random follows and likes. It's not a friend. It's not a family member.
Right.
Random follower, because whatever you're putting out there, that person really connects with.
Absolutely. 100% I agree. And the good thing about it is, I know a lot of people like to, put down social media, but like Gary Vee says, who we're both fans of, it's not social media that's the problem. It's the way that you're utilizing it that's the problem. So you can go on your phone and doom scroll all day.
Right.
And of course, I've been guilty of it. I don't know if you've done it, but yeah. So look, no judgments. It's fine. We've all done it at some point, and that's fine if you have. Don't judge yourself, but think of a way that it can make you better in whatever respect, like whatever field it is, law, medicine, content creation, the list goes on and on. So it's really up to you the way you want to utilize social media.
Well, right now, if you don't have social media, you are at a loss.
Right.
And that's the truth, you know, whether we love it or not.
Right.
And just like I was telling you a few days ago, for me, ultimately, sometimes it's a love and hate relationship where I don't want to see my phone sometimes. Right. I choose to have no screen days where I don't want to be, connected to anyone. I don't want to look at a DM because you'll be on scrolling and then 2 hours go by. And you're like, oh my God, I just wasted my day scrolling. Right. But then you have to learn how to make it beneficial, because that's also how I sometimes pay my bills, by posting, collaboration. Like if you look at a lot of these influencers, we need our phone. That's how we make our extra money. That's how we, like I said, pay our bills, whether it's brand deals, but not even that money wise, you're connecting to so many people. Now, because of your phone, you're one message away to a producer you want to talk to a filmmaker, or how you reached out to me. So 100%. If you learn how to use it for the benefit, absolutely. But if you're going to wake up, turn around and take your phone, which we do, we are, Guilty. Me too. And I should practice what I preach, but it's a habit. Now I'm like, nope, it's not going to be under my pillow or by my, pillowcase. It's going to be next, on my nightstand, so I don't look at it. But it's all habits. Yeah, I know, and I'm honestly, I'm guilty of it too. Yeah. When I'm wake up in the morning and I have to get up, go to work, start doing everything. But this first thing I do, I pick up that phone. Okay. Then I put it down, then I go, but I need to work on that. So yeah, you're definitely right about that. Yeah. And also the thing is about social media, people are, again, it is underrated. It still is, because people think, this is just a fad that's going to end. There's people that still think this, and it's not. These social media people in the media, people like, okay, let's say, Logan Paul with his drink Prime, Mr. Beast with the Beastables bar and the burgers. Okay. Again, like I was mentioning, Dana White and the Nelk boys,
for example, Dana White and the Nelk Boys do advertising for the UFC. And some of these other people like the NHL and the NBA don't want to work with the Nelk Boys because maybe their values don't align. I understand. I respect it. But sometimes, you know, it is a way to get more exposure, grow your business. And I think some of these companies that are just big dogs in the industry, they're still not understanding this. But I think one day they're going to start coming around. You know?
Well, it's because if you look at even networks and major, you know, billion-dollar companies, why are they paying money for influencers to post? Because people are on Instagram most of the time. They want that post from the influencer because if they go to other network and pay thousands of dollars, that might not give them the return on their investment because the younger demographic is on Instagram, you know, is on TikTok, is on Snapchat. When you say
younger, like what do you mean?
I want to say if you have let's say a makeup line, you know, that you want to reach out to maybe teenagers from 15 to 25-year-olds or whatever, or 15 to 20-year-olds or whatnot. Target might, you know, pick an influencer in that range. And Target might pay the influencer millions of dollars versus going to a traditional advertising agency. And that's the power of social media that I think some people are not seeing. That's what Gary Vee says, that we can't be in denial. We have to keep up with the times and see that's our truth. People launch businesses on social media, increase their sales, make movies. Now it's like people don't have to go to film school. They learn everything on YouTube, and guess what? Their film is on social media first, and then a producer might see it, and then a film festival might see it. So, you know?
And also let's say their dream is to go to film school. Well, the film school of their dreams might see that video and then, okay, let's say they don't get in, but let's say the dean of the school sees it and then he or she sees the passion behind it and something could happen. Let's be honest, maybe something won't happen, but something will. So you just have to try your odds, and then one day something could work out for you. So,
even for me, if I see a restaurant on Instagram and I personally want to try the food or connect with, I message them and I say, hey, let's collaborate. So it brings everything up to the surface, and that's what you need. Exactly,
100%. And one thing I want to say is that a lot of people still think, you know, hey, social media is only for guys and girls between the ages of, you know, 13 and 20. No, it's not. Social media is for anybody. I don't care if you're 10, you know, well, maybe not too young of kids, because I don't want to say 13, 20, actually. I want to say maybe social media is between the ages of, you know, 18 and 22. No, it's not. It's for anybody. Man, woman, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are, your background, because whatever thing it is you want to share, whether it's you flip burgers, you want to put it on social media, you're an attorney, you want to put it on social media, you're whatever it is, you know, you're in finance, whatever it is, you could be any age, you could be 22, you could be 42, you could be 62, you could be 82. I even see that too.
Yeah.
And it's going to benefit you. So I disagree with the mentality that no, this is just for a younger demographic. No, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok is for anyone, any age.
I agree. It's a creative outlet for anybody. Anyone.
Yeah.
You could be 60 years old and you want to post something maybe from your past. Or you could be 40 and you're starting a new career.
Right now,
You want to share it with your family and friends. I mean, creativity doesn't have a box to fit into. No way.
Not at all.
And I think that's why it's so beautiful. When I see my older friends who are posting, it motivates me because it says, wow, when I get to that age, you know, I will be up to date with things and you know, keep up with everything. Facebook now is still the #1 connector, in my opinion, where maybe the middle-aged people still connect more, maybe not so much versus Instagram. My mom, personally, is on Facebook every day, you know, sharing her cooking videos and talking to my aunt. So it's a medium that the whole world is connected to.
Yeah, Meta is a very good one too. They all have they're all good, but they have like specializations, you know. Meta has its specialization. TikTok has its specialization. Do I think TikTok is sometimes geared towards younger people? It is. Yeah. But the thing is, that doesn't limit you. That doesn't mean only younger people can use it. No, anyone could use it. It just sometimes is geared towards younger people. But again, you could be 65 years old, a business person, and post yourself, and there's nothing wrong with it.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So having said this, what made you want to get into, the media space?
You mean like TV and film and all of that? Like,
however you want to answer it. Yeah, everything.
Well, I was pretty young, I want to say. I first interned at CBS at Entertainment Tonight, my early days of college. I think my first 6 months of college, when I said,
freshman year?
Yeah, freshman year. I love TV, I love film, and that came from a very young age. The first film I remember watching was a film my mom rented for me down the block in Glendale. We had a video store called Chatriyan Music Store. I think it was on Adams Street.
Sure.
My first film I remember watching was called A Little Princess. And then it was Matilda.
Matilda. I love
Matilda. I feel like I'm Matilda. I'm such a bookworm. So movies have always kind of influenced me. But as far as media and all of that, I was very young, first year of college.
Right.
I interned and I realized, wow, I want to be in this world where I can kind of showcase my energy, share stories, be in this life, use my creativity for a better good, share stories that people might not want to talk about. So I did that whole thing. And then it was an interesting time where I said, wait, hold up. I still want to finish college, get my degree, kind of get my plan B out of the way. And then see if I still want to focus on entertainment because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in the industry yet. It's important to do everything and then figure out your strength and your weaknesses. And that takes time. So after graduating from Cal State LA, I majored in sociology, focused in law and society.
Right.
I thought I wanted to be a lawyer.
Right.
That did not last.
Yeah.
I enrolled in Kaplan to study for the LSAT. And then, 1 hour in, I walked out. I said, oh my gosh, hell no.
And just to be clear, Kaplan is learning.
It helps you prep.
It's a prep institution.
I spent like $1,000 on the books. I sold it. So whatever. I'm like, this is not me. And then I think it was 4 months after I graduated with my degree. And I said, okay, what am I going to do? I want to work somewhere where I can really just explore this industry and see what I want to do. So I started working for Deluxe Media in Burbank.
One of the biggest media companies.
Yeah, biggest post-production company. And that's where I really got my feet wet as far as what the industry is and what I want to do.
Sure.
I started off in HR, such a great HR team. We're still family. We still talk, once a month. So I started in HR, and then I worked in localization, which is the department where it's subbing, subtitles and dubbing, all of that. Just a lot of TV and film things. And then that's when I realized, no, I'm done with this 8 to 5. It's not for me. I spoke to my parents. I said, you know what? I think I'm going to quit this and go at it. I don't know exactly where I'm going yet, but I know that this is just not serving me.
Sure.
And my creativity. And it was a very hard decision. And I quit. And that's when I've been at it since. But that's when the real hustle begins, where building your relationships.
You were about like 22, 23. How old?
I was 25.
25 years old. Okay.
Yeah, I was 25. And I took a break for a good year to figure out what my next step is.
Right.
And then that's when I said, I want to be on television. I want to be somewhere in the industry, whether it's making movies or being a reality star or whatever it is. I just want to see where I'm going to fit in. And I just knew deep down the 8 to 5 world wasn't for me. I just had too much things going on in my mind,
I see.
Yeah.
And so many things have happened during those years that you're describing.
Yeah.
And what I really love, though, is that you actually went to college and you got educated. One thing that I personally, it's very heartbreaking to see. I don't like when young kids watch people that are in the media and they think, oh, this is so easy. I'm just not going to go to college. I'm just going to start this. No, it takes money. It takes work. It takes years of sacrifice. To me, I always encourage go to college. And if Jimmy Donaldson, one of the biggest creators ever, could agree with that, I think a lot of people could agree with him too. So
I mean, it comes down to what you believe in. Me,
right.
I don't believe in the starving artist world.
Right, me either.
It's very hard. You need to have your stable income just to feed into your projects, because how else will you fund it, right? But it's all about self-love. You want to know that you're taken care of financially before going in, because then that wouldn't be smart. And I get that a lot of people don't want the plan B. They want to just go in with plan A and see what happens. Some people might do that and see, okay, that's wrong. Right. Or that's, for me. But I feel like also college, sometimes it might not give you your dream job, but college is there to refine your mind, refine your skills.
Exactly.
Develop your critical thinking skills.
100%.
The network you learn, the friends that you build. But there is a foundation that college gives. Yeah. I think that is needed.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't stop with college. I always say, to be wealthy, you have to be self-educated.
Yes.
No one's going to force you to read hundreds of books a year.
It's up to you.
It's up to you.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. Like, that's just how it is.
Right. It's not up to your parents. It's not up to your wife. It's not up to your husband. Yeah. It's not up to your girlfriend or boyfriend. It's not up to your family. It's up to you. They can push you. They can assist you. Of course, your friends, your family, your significant other, your wife, husband, whatever, of course, they love you and they care about you, but you could lead a horse to water. You can't force them to drink. It's up to you at the end of the day.
And I'm sure growing up in a traditional Middle Eastern household, sometimes there's the talk where, no, you have to go to college. You have to do this. So it takes time to explain to them where, life is changing. The dynamic of employment is changing. It's okay to maybe go to college and not use the degree and launch something else, because life is also so short. And I feel like it's okay to have different passions.
Yeah. And
you need that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen so many times people that, they get an English degree or sociology degree or whatever it is, and they end up in the finance world. Yeah. They end up being accountants. They end up being lawyers. I had a professor in college. I remember him very distinctly told us, he said, look, just because you major in chemistry, that does not mean your only destiny is to be a chemist or a scientist. No, you majored in this, you have a good base in it. And you could continue if you want, or you could take your education, your expertise, and then propel it into whatever it is you want to do. So
there are those careers that you needed, right? As far as attorney, doctor, those are you have to go to school and get the credentials and pass those exams. Right. But when it comes to the entrepreneur life or building brands and businesses, it's still not, oh my God, so necessary, if that makes sense. Right. But still, for an intellectual level, I think college is. One day, if I have kids, for sure, I will push them. Yeah,
me too.
Get your degree out of the way.
Absolutely, I'm gonna me too.
Or do it online if you can't go to actual college. Some online school.
Just one other thing, and I'll move on to the next thing. But to me, college it is something I believe in. I understand maybe it's not for everybody. Some people want to go into other types of work that it requires, just a certificate and that's very valuable too. It's very valuable. My dad himself, he's a blue collar worker and he works very, very efficiently. He's very intelligent, very hard worker. So I understand there's different dynamics, but at the same time, formal education it's amazing.
See, now, I'm such a film and TV lover. I would love to go to film school. And I'm looking into programs because for me, that's my passion.
Do you know which one you want to go to?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Maybe UCLA or
USC is a good one.
USC is number one.
Yeah, USC is the best.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that yet. If I want to do full time with my schedule and life, it might be just a few classes online here and there. I don't know yet, but anything that's going to fuel my soul and give me those credentials that I want, because I think that's just great about human beings. A lot of people go back to school for their second degree when they're 50 because they realize, you know what, I think I want to be a CPA. And that's okay.
Yeah. Or I want to be an attorney or whatever it is,
And so many attorneys now are filmmakers. A lot of cookbook authors used to be attorneys. A lot of, doctors are actually producers in films. And these are people that I know. Yeah. So that's so beautiful.
Right.
And that goes back to being a multi-hyphenate.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's multi-dynamic. That's the thing about life. And you can really be a multi-dynamic person. But at the same time, you need to be, I think being realistic too is helpful.
Right. Right.
That's why to me it's important to, again, you look at people like Mr. Beast and you say, well, he didn't go. Yeah, but he's the exception, The common theme is more, you need to have that. You don't want to be a starving artist like that. So you need to have a good base and then go pursue whatever it is you want to do after your 9 to 5, 8 to 5, 8 to 6 corporate job,
There's always exceptions.
Yeah.
But don't rely on that.
Yeah,
like
don't rely on it. There you go.
I always say this, deal with the cards you're dealt with.
Yeah.
Trust God and your creator and just roll with it and see what happens. Like people like those influencers you mentioned, it might be luck, right timing, who they are. You just don't know, but don't rely on that. So I agree. Yeah. For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So not only are you on Instagram, but you're also in a lot of other places. And like I was mentioning, she's a TV personality. You've been on the Food Network channel. Tell me about how that was.
Oh, that was fun. I was on Worst Cooks in America. Proud of it. I don't really cook, but I love food. Right. Worst Bakers. And also Dirty Dishes, which was one of their newest shows.
3 different shows, yeah.
Yeah, and it was very fun. I had a coach one time in the industry that said, you don't know where you might get your start, even though mine is TV and film and all of that, but I got my start in food, which was so opposite to what I was used to because I'm not a cook, right? But my mom is, and I always, grew up watching her, still do. She's an amazing chef. But Food Network really taught me how to appreciate food and the whole preparation of food and how it's made. Even though it's Worst Cooks in America, it's more reality TV. Right. But still, the pressure of cooking, the pressure of following directions. And then the chef I worked with, Alex Cornicelli, one of the best on Food Network, and Amburel. So after that, it really blossomed my love for food and doing the foodie blogger work that I do, the food influencer work that I do. Because before I wasn't that into it, but now it's full on.
I love it. Wow.
Yeah,
I like it.
And I made Armenian dishes.
What'd you make?
I made dolma.
Right.
I say dolma. Some people say dolma. And then I made a Middle Eastern dessert called pakhlava. Pakhlava. So it was an honor to me to showcase Food Network that I am Armenian. Right. I'm Middle Eastern, and this is what I'm trying to make. And they were so welcoming. Yeah,
of course. And I love that you represent the background that you come from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Proud Armenian.
Yes. I always like to mention, my parents, we came from Iran. We are Armenians living in Iran, and then we came here in the year of 2000. So we've been living here ever since, and it's been a big blessing coming to America. It's just amazing.
Wow.
But at the same time, I hold on to my, ethnic roots. I'm an Armenian. Right. I'm an American. I'm very proud to be an Armenian. I'm very proud to be an American citizen. And it's just been nothing but a big blessing to me.
Same. I'm born and raised here. And
okay. Nice.
My parents have always instilled those values in me. And till this day, I'm very proud of our culture, our heritage. I'm sure you see through my work, whether it's representing Armenian films or, Armenian charity programs, Armenian writers, whatever it is, I think it's our duty being here in the diaspora to give back to our homeland somehow.
Absolutely. As like diasporan Armenians, we're here, we come to America. We're here we're here to benefit America because we're citizens of America and we have to partake in American culture. And also we could honor Armenians in the diaspora and back in Armenia too. So to me, it's like a win-win situation.
We have so much story. We have so much history, so much pain,
so much trauma, all of it.
So much trauma. Yeah. And as an, Armenian American or however you call it, again, like I say, it's our duty to preserve that. Whether it's through storytelling, through film, whether it's social media, whether it's through cooking.
Through politics, through law, whatever your gift is that you have, express it that way.
Like, I'm proud that I could read and write in Armenian.
Yeah.
I'm proud that I know most of the best, Armenian poets and authors. And that's because of my mom and my grandma, because they had an Armenian school here in Glendale for over 20 years. So me and my brother both went to our mom's Armenian school. Right. We had to know how to read and write. Yeah. And that's something my kids will have too. They have to know how to read and write in Armenian.
Right. Yeah, my parents too. They put me I have an older sister. They put me and my sister in an Armenian school on Saturdays. We would go to somewhere similar to that. Right, maybe. Yeah. So that's great. And so what makes you passionate about producing and storytelling?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard to answer. I love talking about and sharing stories that people might not get to see. I also love sharing other people's stories, not mine. And I think that's the power of film. It takes you to a place that sometimes you're dreaming to go and can't. It also shows life in a different way that you're not used to. It opens your mind. It teaches you something. I mean, some people go to film for so many different reasons, right? Going through a heartbreak, you want to watch a movie. You're happy, you're watching a movie. You want to feel inspired, you're going to watch a movie.
Any emotion. Also.
Any emotion. I'm such a movie person. Like, people always say, what do you like to do for fun? I'm the girl, I will stay home on a Friday night, I'll watch a movie. I don't care. Call me a movie nerd, whatever it is. It's my passion. It just fills my soul. And I feel like I can't wait to take the next step and make moves in that world where it's happening already, where there are some things in development, which I can't talk about. But
of course. Yeah.
That also comes down to being in the industry for a long time. Because when I first started, I had no idea I would want to even produce or share stories or make films. It took me a long time to say, hold up, wait, I am a producer. I just didn't know that's what it was called. Because there's so many different types of producers.
So how did you figure that out, that you were a producer?
Because I realized I like putting things together.
Right.
I like to delegate. I like to, whether it's finding a great director, whether it's finding a great editor. It's hundreds of people coming together to do one thing. And it's so precious. It's like building a startup company, right?
Sure.
You have to have that vision to know who to call and bring in to tell that one story. And don't be afraid, I always say, because you could learn it together. You'll figure it out with your team. But then there's so many other producers where their focus is development, helping the script get better.
Sure.
But I'm the type who I know will be very hands-on. I want to be in the editing room. I want to be in the writer's room. I want to hear the table reads. I want to see how I can help the script be better. So there's different levels, and you're not going to know until you're in it.
Right.
It's something school can't even teach. You can get your degree, but if you're not in there with the sharks, you're not going to know.
What's the biggest lesson it's taught you? Because you're saying you were there with the sharks, and that's a high pressure situation, high risk, high reward. What's the biggest thing it taught you, if you could share?
Oh my gosh.
I know there's a lot, but if you could say one or two, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, I have to say, ask questions. My best lesson that I've learned in the industry is sometimes we're so scared to ask questions. Whoever you're asking the question to, I guarantee has been in your shoes. Do not be intimidated. Ask your questions, but also be fearless. Why not you? Right? Why not you? That person started out just like you.
Right.
Why not you?
Right.
So that's not more of a lesson, or it's more of a, I want to say, spiritual way where include yourself in these meetings. If you're working hard in the industry and you want to be part of something, vocalize it.
Right.
So it comes down to asking questions.
Right.
Don't be intimidated, and vocalize what you want. Know what you want. If you want to be in a room with a writer, say it. So many times we assume people might know what we're thinking. Oh my gosh. No. And have a good circle of networks. Learn yourself better.
Right.
Like trust yourself, not learn yourself, but trust yourself and your instincts.
Right.
To make better relationships.
Right.
In the industry, because ultimately it's based on relationships.
And two things on that.
Yeah.
One thing that really reminds me of the quote, the great Clarence Avant, rest in peace, known as the Black Godfather, such a powerful, just passionate person. Clarence Avant had a quote saying, "I don't have problems, I have friends." Meaning,
oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, so...
oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, I don't have problems, I have friends.
Oh, that's
meaning,
beautiful.
if you're in a bind in anything and you have a friend that could help you with the situation you're in, a legal issue, let's say, for that, just an example, you know, or you're trying to create something, or you're trying to start a company, and maybe your friend's an investor, maybe your friend has business sense, you know, having friends around you that you can, of course, number one, your friends first. Right. Number two, you figure out how you and your friends could help each other out. I mean, there's nothing better than that. That's what I think he meant by that quote. And
that's so true. And it comes down to watering your relationships and keeping your relationships fruitful.
Yeah.
And knowing that in the industry, it's also who knows you.
Right.
A lot of times we say it's who you know.
Right.
But sometimes I've gotten job opportunities. It's because that person knew me. Like, oh, Louisa has worked on this before. Let's give her this.
Right.
So if you don't have that core relationship, it will be very difficult. And that comes with years of working on yourself and building that honest relationships, taking care of those relationships. I mean, I really love that quote. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
And, you know, I scratch my back, you know, you scratch, kind of like that, where it's like, let's help.
You scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Let's help each other.
Right.
I'm very into collaborating with your friends. It's never competition, it's collaboration.
Right.
You want your friends to excel, right? You want them to be in better companies, better positions. Because in the long run, guess what? That will also benefit you.
Absolutely.
You sometimes it gets messy when you mix personal and friendship and all of that.
Right.
But sometimes it's important to be friends first and then business partners. And if you guys both take off together, that's amazing.
You were mentioning that it takes years to, you know, really get big in the media space. It takes a lot of hard work. And I can't help but think of mention Lillian Tarmasian, such a just powerful person that I interviewed. Her and her family, they were the nicest people. Her and her brother, Arlen Tarmasian, they're so hardworking. They started a marketing agency, Tarmasian Marketing Agency. Lillian and Arlen, and then Lillian individually has just been in the content creation game for like 15 years, 16 years now, such a long time, maybe even longer. And on top of that, she also has her master's degree. I'm like, okay, she doesn't stop. Like me interviewing, just her energy when I interviewed her, honor. So
Lillian is amazing.
She's amazing.
I know her and her
Shout
family.
out to you, Lillian.
Yeah, we love you, Lillian, and Arlen, and your mom and dad.
Yeah, shout out to Lillian, shout out to Arlen, shout out to her mother Aurox, and even shout out to her sister Sarah. So
Oh my, she has a sister? I didn't know.
She does.
So they're 3 siblings.
Yes, yes.
I know Lillian. I met her, I want to say 2 years ago. Great family. I love their dynamic, collective work with the business, because I know a lot of times her parents help her film the content. They're so family driven. I love it. They're always together. Her mom is wonderful. And she's very supportive. I love Lillian.
Oh, absolutely. Her mom is just, her and her family, they work together, and they're just a strong unit of hard workers, all of them. Yeah. And so it inspires me when I see Lillian doing her thing. I'm like, man. That's so amazing. Hats off to Lillian. Great person.
We love you, Lillian.
Yeah. So what makes you want to collaborate with a content creator, a business, things like this?
When I see someone who is similar to me, or when I see someone that I can help, or vice versa. Like if I want to collaborate with someone, I have to think about what could we make together that would really create something special.
Sure.
How will we be beneficial together, right? Like give and take. like they always say, if you want to go somewhere, you can go alone. If you want to go faster or stronger, right? Like go with someone.
Right.
So that's how I am. I'm very selective with my time and my energy. I have to see value in it. Are we going to create value for our followers, to our potential clients? But also, is it going to value you? I don't want it to be one-sided.
Symbiotic.
If we do something, if we make a funny reel together, will that increase our followers? You know, or we share this message together. Are we going to help someone who's having a very bad day?
Sure.
So it's about common value, common interest. Is that person respecting me, and am I respecting that person? It has to also speak to your brand a bit. You know, if I go and collaborate with something random right now that I'm not passionate in, it will show.
Yeah, it won't make sense.
Right now, my space is very film, TV, food, you know, and the Armenian culture. So it has to speak to my soul. And that's how I am with film and scripts too. I've met amazing filmmakers throughout my career that they present me with scripts for me to read and see, okay, do I want to start finding funding for this script? You know, should I tap into my network and see who could make this movie? But I have to love it first. Just like anything, it needs to speak to your soul.
Right. And if it doesn't speak to you, it doesn't make like sense. It's not matching with what you believe. It's not just, it's no point.
And that's okay.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the universe sends you what you need, not what you want. So.
Right. You were telling me that earlier. I'm like, yeah, 100%.
Just keep it flowing.
She's right.
Just flow.
This is what I mean when I say she has a lot of wisdom. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what she was telling me off camera. Like,
you know, and one thing I live by is life happens for you, not to you.
Right.
Something might happen and you're like, why is this happening right now? Right. And then 5 minutes later or 5 years later, you'll say, aha, this is why that had to happen.
Right.
Just trust.
Right.
Trust your higher power, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Honestly, maybe, you know, something really bad happens to you now, and then, you know, you're upset about it. Maybe a long time, like 10 years later, you figure out, oh, that's why that happened. You know, you never know how life is going to play out. So,
you know, Robert De Niro has this really good quote. I can't remember it now, but he says, "When it's good, let it be good. When it's bad, let it be bad."
Oh, I see.
Don't get overexcited.
Yeah.
And this is someone high of the highs, right? Like, you know, top movies, best actor of all time. But he never let it get to his head.
Sure.
When it's good, just write it out. When it's bad, write it out. Because you don't know.
Right.
So just float.
Right.
Like a duck.
Right.
Float like a duck.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how do you recommend if there's anyone in the media space that is, you know, in content creation, whatever medium it is, they want to, you know, get some sponsorships.
Right.
What do you recommend they do?
Reach out to them and go very hard in your DMs. If it's a DM or an email, sometimes you have that one chance. Sometimes it might take you 2 years for them to open the DM, right? Depends on who you're reaching out to. Have a list of what you're bringing to them. You know, sometimes offer to intern for that company for 1 month. I always say sometimes in this industry, even in the sponsorship world, you have to pay to play.
Sure.
Show them what you can do and then go back with the number or whatever it is. But for a sponsorship, be honest. Say, hey, I'm looking for sponsors. This is what I can bring to you. This is my stats. These are my relationships. Yeah. I know I will be of value. And if they say no, you could always say, give me a month. Let me show you what I can do.
Yeah.
And are you talking more of a financial sponsor or like an influencer collaboration?
Oh, both.
Yeah. Like, this is my network. This is what I do. This is how I hustle. I think you and me will be a great, you know, collaboration. They might say no. Most of the times they might say no. But it's like, what would Gary Vee say, right? Keep on doing it. Keep asking. Keep making your content. It's important for them to know that you bring them value. That's number one. That's why we follow people, right?
Yeah, because they bring us value to our lives, right?
Like if you're having a sad day, I know whose page to go on to get some positive vibes.
Right.
So it's very hard sometimes, you know, like with sponsorships, because they might not be very receptive. Yeah. And then if you know someone that knows them, you could always go
that way too. Yes.
That way as well.
One thing I would love to bring up is don't think because they said no to you 1 year that 6 months, 8 months, a year later, they're going to say no. I've had so many times that I've talked to people. I said, hey, I'd love to, work with you. They say no, and it's a hard no. And then they change their minds. They see your work ethic. They look at things differently. They evolve, whatever it may be. I don't know. I don't know exactly why, but I've had so many times that people say, you know what? I know that you put in work. You know what? I know that I've changed my mind because of this reason, So sometimes you just have to let it be, play it out. And as far as respectfully, you could reach out again and ask,
Well, squeaky wheel gets to oil.
Right.
Be at it. Every 6 months, follow up.
Right.
And the best way, my tip is if you want to ask for advice or you want to, let's say, email someone who has your dream job, find the email. Ask them if you can just ask them questions first. Don't ask them to have coffee first. Right. We always want to do that. Oh my God, that person has my dream job. Let's see if she's going to let me take her out to lunch. Chances are no. Always go in from afar and say, I know you're busy, but I have 2 questions. Can I just please ask you a question? That way they know they can just answer you via text or email and they don't have to actually see you. But that also builds a bond. Yeah,
especially LinkedIn more in in the professional world. Let's say, you want to work in New York and you want to work for Bank of America. Let's say you want to be an analyst for Bank of America. Well, that's fine. Just you filter New York, you look up the job in New York and you see someone that's in that career. And again, you don't need to say, oh, hey, let's have coffee. It's no, I don't know who this person is. You could just say, hey, interested in this career. I know you're very busy. I just want a minute of your time. Can you answer these 2 questions via call, text, email? My personal recommendation is getting on a call is good because they feel the energy. But sometimes people don't have time and I get it. So maybe an email if that doesn't work or just LinkedIn messaging, however works for them.
Also, if you're trying to get a sponsorship and they're still not receptive, find out where they're having events. Go to the event, talk to the brand ambassador. Go that route. Say, hey, who got you on board? Or give me a different email because this one's not 100%, working. It really comes down to your hustle. Your hustle, your network. This industry is not overnight, right? 10 years to be overnight. And that's what it is.
100%. And so being a woman in media, I see... Because this is an issue that people talk about, and it's how do there's young kids in media, young girls, teenage girls that go on social media and they feel just very bad about themselves. They feel depressed. They feel anxious because they look at other women on social media and they think, wow, that woman's beautiful. Wow, she's flawless. Wow, she's perfect. But they don't understand that filters are being put on. They don't understand that, no, they had to sit through a 2-hour, 3-hour makeup session with a professional Hollywood artist that's been doing makeup for 5 years. They don't see those small things behind the scenes. And I get it that they don't see it because they just see that post on Instagram, that 5-second post on Instagram, that story or whatever that is. What do you recommend for, young girls that are watching this? Because, if I had a daughter, I would want to know, what should I tell her, for example?
Wow, that's such a great question.
I don't have a daughter, but I'm just saying if I had one.
One day you'll be a great dad.
Thank you.
Number 1 is to not compare yourself, which is so hard to do. But as a young girl, if you're watching this right now, you are enough. Love yourself and just know that your health is number 1 and your mental health. I always have to say this. We grow up in this whole social media world where everything is face app, everything is filtered. We're all guilty of it. We all do it. Oh, I want to look skinnier. Let me do this. It's like this one-stop shop. Let me be a model, right? But is it realistic? No. And I think if a girl is very young, let's say not even a teenager, it would be very smart for the parents to try to, somehow regulate the phone usage so that young little girl doesn't tap into the TikTok world and doesn't see, oh, why does she have hair like that and I don't?
And instill the something Gary Vee talks about, he talks to parents a lot. He says, you have to instill that confidence in your child to instill the confidence in your daughter. or your son, instill that confidence in them. And then when they see these posts, they will understand, oh, hey, no, it's not a polished product. That model on Instagram went through 5 hours of makeup from top-notch Hollywood artists that work on, top-notch actors and celebrities and whatever. And it's not just an overnight like that. No, they're just normal people that pay a lot of money and get made beautiful. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they're in the media. They want to look good. There's nothing wrong with it, but you can't compare it,
As a little girl, I think because they also want to fit into their circle, right? So this person has makeup on. Why can't I put it on? So there's also that factor as well. But they just have to know that they are enough, and they have to be very confident in the way that they show themselves. But they're so young, they don't know how. I'm like so much older now and realizing that the last few years, it takes a while for a woman to get there, even at our age. But for little people, for little girls, I have to say, just know it's so fabricated, the world.
Right.
If they know how hard we work to make that post perfect, the hair, the lighting, it's a whole movie.
Hours, right?
Right. So as a parent, I would say, because I have 2 nephews that I'm obsessed with. Right. I love them, right? And they're 2 little boys, and they could be on TikTok or whatever, which is the norm now, right? They all do. But I always pull them aside and say, you're loved, you're smart, you're enough. Mom and dad and your aunties, we all love you. But also health is number 1. And that's what Gary Vee says. He always says, if my family is healthy, I don't care about anything else. So I would go to that little girl and say, if you're healthy and you don't have to be in the hospital, because there's people in the hospital who would kill to be that little girl, right? But she's talking about, why can't I look like this star at 18, right? It comes down to values and mindset. So it's going to take time. Yeah. And it's very hard. Very hard. Sometimes they won't even learn that lesson until their mid-20s. Then they'll be like, why was I so dumb? Right. Why did I have to go do surgery or this and that to look like someone else?
Right. Yeah. No, and that's good. And I, want whatever young kid is watching to find their confidence. Because like I was saying, if I have a daughter one day, I want to, make sure I do everything I can to put her mind at ease and all
also,
that.
No one is you. That's your power.
No one is you too.
No one is you. Own it. Own your authentic life. Own your family. Respect yourself. Respect your family. But, they're young. It might take them a while to get there. But I think you will be a great father, and it'll be awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to have a daughter.
Yeah. You will. I'm sure. Just manifest it.
Yeah. I like a son too, but daughter, definitely. Does it, if you don't mind, I'm wondering, it affects young girls too. Does it ever affect, older women, like adults, or?
Oh, yeah. Women and men in general, insecurity is a real thing. You always want to compare yourself sometimes, but it takes a lot of growth, insight, and self-compassion. Right. You need those 3 things. And I think once you hit a certain age, let's say early 30s, maybe mid-30s, or even late 20s, when you say, you know what, I am enough. I am perfect the way I am. And sometimes it's never about looks. It's actually mostly never about looks. It's your internal energy. How you feel about yourself, the aura you bring, the energy you bring. Sometimes you see, these beauty pageants and stuff. Those are very superficial, obviously, right? But then you get to know that woman and you realize, wait, she does have that energy about her, right? It's very internal. It's not, over the surface.
Right.
Like beauty and confidence, it's so deep.
Right. And never, ever really envy anyone, because you don't know what's going on in their life. You see that 1 second clip or someone in a beauty pageant or whatever, and that's fine. If they love it, do your thing, but you have no idea what's going on in their lives when they go home. You don't know. You never know,
Social media is deceiving. We know that. We all know those relationships that they post. They're so happy and stuff, right?
Right, or like those happy marriages, and it's not really like that or anything. Right, unfortunately.
And then the catfish situations where you don't even look like your picture. But the dangers of social media.
Yeah. If I wanted to sit here and just learn from you, we would be here till like next week.
Seriously, I know.
We would be here till next week. But I want to, I'll close it off with one other thing. Where do you see yourself in the next, let's say, 5 years from now?
Oh my gosh. Next 5 years, definitely with my own 2-3 films, I think, that I've produced with my own films.
Right.
So I'm very open about sharing other people's stories, but I think it's time for me to make that next step as a filmmaker, for sure. Also, having my own business. I don't know exactly what it is yet, because I do like to help other businesses grow. I think that's my passion, because I'm so good at publicity. But I think it's time for Louisa to make her next mark.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, whether it's
your thing,
food or film or even TV related. But next 5 years, it would be having some kind of product that's mine, for sure. Product or business and films.
I love it. Sounds super exciting.
Definitely produce films that speak to my soul, be part of a big production, have the freedom to see a script and say, you know what, I want that made. And have the power and education to do so.
Wow, what an ambitious person. I love it.
It takes one to know one.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, perfect. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Let me know what your favorite part of this interview is. Let me know what you took from it. Comment down below and let me know. And Louisa, where can people find you?
Yes, so follow me on Instagram at Louisa Sharamatyan, Louisa. Long Armenian last name, Sharamatyan.
Perfect. Thank you. We're gonna go ahead and link that in the description. Yes. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.